Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Professor Chris, your sneaker professor, and I'm back with another video, and I'm trying to get across a big point that I made earlier this year, specifically in January, when I did my sneaker resale report and analysis. Now, most of the data that I use, all of the data that I use in my sneaker reports come from my own sales. And I always explain that I have a micro set of data that compares very closely to the macro set of data that's researched and discussed by analysts who use point of sales data. So you can go back through a history of all of my SRRAs, and those you can find on the website. You guys look over here to my side. You can find on the website under this link, SRR and Analysis. But I make sure to stress that I have a micro set of small data that I'm willing to divulge information to you based on what I've sold over the course of years. And I do these reports every month, and I've been doing them. And then in January, I did a report, and I knew that the trend was shifting, right? And I decided to come back in February. And in February, I didn't write my report because I recognized something that was critical. So February, I was going to come back and do the January report I wrote in February. February, I would have written in March, but I decided against writing the report for February because I recognized something and I wanted to make sure I was right. And it took a month and a half or so for me to get all of that information together. And that information appears in this post. It's going to be in the description so you guys can click on it and read it. But I named the post, Sneaker Resale is Broken. A year-over-year look at a month on eBay is astonishing. Because what happened was previously in one of the reports, I'm going to go back here to SRR and Analysis, in a report on the Yeezy jumping over Jumpman data. And there was another report here that I wanted to explain a few things. I saw my trend over 3 years going down with one exception, which was, you know what, that's getting ahead. Let's go back and get back into the article that you see over here to my side, and that is Sneaker Resale is Broken, a year-over-year look at a month on eBay. So last month I wrote a post on how resale was slowing down on both StockX and eBay. During the time since that, a lot of people on sneaker Twitter have been, and sneaker IG have been going crazy over the discussion of Marcus Jordan backdooring trophy room kicks and Benjamin Kicks getting 500 pair of the coveted Union Air Jordan 2. There's a reason for all of this. The sneaker market is getting more competitive as part-time sneaker hustlers have entered the arena that was once controlled by business people, and I'm calling myself a business person here. I was a part of this, who were plugged in and capable of keeping things under control. What do I mean by that? You're getting all of these screenshots and videos of people talking on record about what they're getting and how they're getting it. And before, I'll say 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and I've been at this for a very long time, and I've always talked about where my stuff comes from, and I've explained it and given you information. So you can go back and look through all of these reports and see it. But before, you had business people who were able to keep things under control. Now, when StockX came along, that changed everything. And you can look at the year 2016, 2017, when StockX came about and began to shift the entire ecosystem around sneaker resale. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm not even going there. But what happened today basically is more and more people see sneakers as the investment holy grail. Things have changed considerably. What used to be, I'm going to buy it and hold it, has turned into move fast and move faster. You have store managers, store owners, and employees are all in on the sneaker grind, making it much more difficult to capitalize on what was once a market that didn't seem as if it was ever going to slow down. But I'm telling you, it slowed down considerably. The reality was and is the trend for sneakers has been pointing south for years. Outside of a few anomalies like post-COVID quarantine, I've shown a consistent decline in resale. Now, remember, I sell things that are regular shoes. I don't get into a lot of the hype, even though I do have sales that are based in hype, Jordan 1s and things like that. most of my sales are on regular shoes, which is why when I came over here to show you guys the January report, I'm showing you this because I tell you that the year-over-year decline in sales started, even for me, and it's very recognizable from last year to this year. And someone asked me, well, do I think it's the stimulus checks that help that? Yeah, possibly. But I give you a list of the reasons why things have changed so much. And it's a very detailed list, so you're going to have to go through and read it. But these are the shoes that I was selling and that I sell, and basically explain to you guys, this is what I'm selling. So you guys don't get into this thing like, well, you're a reseller too. And I'm like, no, that's not quite the same. I'm selling Air Max Pre-Days, React Phantom Runs, Air Force One, Nike Free Run, Pegasus 38, Huarache, Blazer, MX 97, Zoom X Invincible Run, Air Jordan 1. So everybody's selling Air Jordan 1, but my sales are a lot more in line with what's being sold at sneaker stores. Come back over here, but you had these kind of spikes, right? At post-COVID quarantine, you had like a spike in sales. But like I said, I've shown a consistent decline in resale. And that's really interesting because I'm in Memphis. It's a completely different world than the rest of the country. Why this happened can be attributed to a variety of reasons. But when you tie in the strategies by brands to recapture a lot of those sales via programs like Nike Refurbished, Adidas with their partnership with ThreadUp, where they're taking their return shoes or damaged shoes and they're pushing them through the ThreadUp system, increases in the SRP are also a problem. And of course, the supply chain limiting the number of sneakers available, decline in resale accelerated. So while everybody's like, well, you can't prove it, just because your sales did it doesn't mean that everybody else is doing it. So I needed a bigger proving ground to establish this discussion, right? So you wouldn't know that resale has slowed down when you look at sneaker Twitter and sneaker IG and how people are angry about the trophy room scandal and the Union Air Jordan 2 launch. But the evidence is readily available in my own SRAs from January this year. Now, what I did was I came back and I said, I wrote this report, and it was sneaker sales slow down on third-party sites, and I'm going to click on it and I'm going to come backwards again, right? And it was based on changes that I saw that were going to take place on StockX. So I wrote this original article, and in the original article, I gave 1 week of data. Now, this is in the new article as well. So I gave this 1 week of data and I explained it. But it came in the form of this long one month analysis of eBay, because I'm selling primarily through StockX and in wholesale and things that are not happening online at all. So I had to get data that supported everything that I'm saying. And this is something that has a lot to do with it. Resellers are now paying a lot more for kicks. And those who have access to the shoes have loyalty only to their pockets. In the past, what was once treated like sneaker mafia is now treated like mafia families with no dons at the table. There used to be people who were sitting in certain positions that kind of controlled everything. And this is how you saw places like Urban Necessities come into being and Stadium Goods come into being, and a lot of the bigger kind of resale people over the years, 23 pennies and people like that, that really kept things even. I would include myself in that category because like back in 2013 when StockX was campless and they did that ranking list, I was on Amazon, and had I been on eBay at that time, I would have been like the third ranked person in their list of top resellers. But that's neither here nor there. What's happening now is the person with the most money wins, which leaves everyone scrambling for whatever they can grab. And since the top of sneaker resale is FUBAR, including bots, arbitrage, which is where I operated, which is once a safe haven for smart resellers, is compressed as well, right? So where I used to be able to go to the store and get a lot of sale items because Memphis has more sales than most other places because we have 3 Nike stores, that's compressed as well. It's getting much harder to find the inventory because from the top to the bottom is being just compressed with so many people involved. So in the post that I made previously, I wrote that sales are down and that it required proof. And then I gave you guys stats from eBay for 1 week. And in that 1 week, I established that year over year in April of in March 28th to April 3rd, that's what this chart is that you're looking at over here to my side. It showed that sneaker sales were $19 million for that week on eBay last year. And this year, it had dropped all the way $15 million, $15,914,000, right? So year over year, there was basically a $4 million loss. And that puts that at almost 20%, 19.68% if you see right here. But that was for only 1 week. But it made me understand that I was right in more than one way. But I needed stronger data. So I went back and I said, okay, let me go in and do an entire month. So I had to wait and monitor over the course of a month. I had to monitor the same keyword, and I used the keyword sneakers to monitor it. And I predicted there would be like an 18% decline for the entire month of April, right? I didn't imagine that I'd be really wrong. And I mean wrong in the worst way. Any loss year over year is bad, but I utilized the same keyword, the same research keyword, and I found that sales had decreased 25.96%, 26% decrease using the keyword search sneakers and looking at that research on eBay sneakers. So I'm like, oh my gosh, eBay really needs to figure this stuff out, but they can't really figure it out because you have to know where those sales are going. And to know where sales are going, you're going to have to deal with people like me or people like that are bigger than me that are in this area. You have to talk with us because we kind of know where all of these sales are going and we see what's happening. So comparing a week to a month is a much better way to analyze how sneaker resale has shifted. Sneaker sales have always been slower in April than they are in certain peak periods of the year, right? So you have Black Friday, holiday season, back to school, and tax time. And those times create outliers. So you'll have explosions in sales because people are looking for product and you can't really use those months to compare. April is a great month to utilize. Now, if I use those months, I'd be certain that it would trend in the same direction. I'm positive it would. And the chart that's on this sheet, and remember, this is in the description. You guys can go and look at it. Those of you who are using this in the background, y'all guys can go down to the description, click the link, and go and read the article, and you get all of these statistics, and you get the charts that are in the post. All right? And the chart below shows the data, and I'm going to wrap this up by also doing a search on brands. So I did a search on brands to break down the sneakers keyword that I used to do this research. But here are the numbers on total sales. And I don't care who is running what at eBay at this time. For eBay sneakers, this has to be extremely troubling. 78 million for the entire month of April in 2021, all the way to 59 million, which is insane. 59 million in 2022. So you're talking about a 26% decrease in total sales. But more important, your total sneakers sold is right at 23%. So the decrease also led to a slight decrease in the average sold price, which is 99 to 97. So these are the charts. And I know you guys are like, man, those are huge numbers. That's for 1 month. And everybody tends to think that eBay is dead. It's not that they're dead, but they are hurting when you consider that April 2022 was 59 million in total sales. And when you come back and you look at what it was last year, and there wasn't enough stimulus to drive these kind of numbers. The numbers were higher. It was 78 million in April of 2021. Now, if you guys are like, well, what brand sold the best? I put those facts in there as well, and you can go and look at that. I know this is a long video. I appreciate you guys for checking it out, and I'm going to end it by basically showing you the numbers from the brands as a breakdown. So what I did was I went to Hypebeast, because they have this thing called the Hype Index on Hypebeast, and it gives you the top selling brands. So I took the top sneaker companies on the Hype Index, and I said, well, let's look up and see which one of these companies sold more product on eBay under this same time frame for April of 2022. I wish I would have done 2021, but I didn't. I think I may try to go back and think about doing that, but there's a lot going on that you guys need to read and check out, because nobody's really doing more detailed breakdowns like this. And as you're a sneaker professor, I'm trying to get into it and do a little bit more. But of course, Nike was number one in total sales with 24 million for April 2022. Air Jordan was at 15,942,000, so basically 16 million. And Air Jordan had $192 price point average sold price. Nike was at 129, which is solid as well. Adidas was third with 9,920,000, so basically 10 million sold. Yeezy, and there's overlap between Nike and Air Jordan, and there's overlap between Adidas and Yeezy, because we know when people list on eBay, they use both words. But Yeezy is at $5,232 per pair. And if you think about the price of Yeezys, people are selling Yeezys at an average loss, because most Yeezys cost $220 plus tax. So you have an average loss on Yeezy, which I didn't even get into a conversation on, but it's something to think about. New Balance is only at about $1.5 million. And that's not bad for New Balance, but the average sold price is 77. So someone asked me about Aimee Leondore, Teddy DeSantis, who's running the creative director at New Balance, and they were like, well, 550s are popping now. Is that helping New Balance and resale? Really, the majority of the shoes that are sold in New Balance are typically used shoes or cheaper low-end shoes, and the amount of hype product that a New Balance has is so small that it doesn't affect sales at all. Same thing with Asics. Asics brings up the rear, and they are at less than $1 million. It said 883,000 on eBay. But it's really interesting stuff. Hopefully you guys are appreciative of this type of content. And as your sneaker professor, I'm going to keep saying that like it really, I'm not teaching at a college right now. This is kind of my classroom. And I'm going to wrap this up actually with one more thing. eBay's trying to offset their losses in very small ways. And this is an interesting one, which was the Sunra Times eBay private label strategy is what I call it. And it's based on something that I actually consulted with eBay a year ago, and then they kind of ghosted me after that. But I introduced to them a concept of premium private label last year. And then I saw this drop take place in Germany. And I was like, man, that looks a lot like what I pitched to them a year ago. And it's a smart strategy by eBay. And it's going to take a lot more of things like this to kind of offset those losses that are taking place. But really interesting stuff, man. If you want to read the articles, go to the website. It's in the description. You can click through and read it. It's a lot of info. But that's it. Some of you guys that are like younger, you're probably going to be like, dude, you talk too much. And dude, this ain't for you. This is for people who are a little bit more thoughtful about the things that they're interested in the sneaker world. Go on to another channel where they're just going to talk about the other more hype things. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm trying to get everybody a little bit smarter about these things so you can learn, develop, and create your own businesses, possibly. You know, a lot of different stuff that you can do in sneakers. But if you don't know the business side of it, you can't get involved in it. And you need to know. But that's it. Cutting this off. That was a long video. I don't apologize because it's really good information. Everything's in the description. You can click through and read the articles. Let me know what you think. You can leave comments. Love hearing from you guys because typically the people who comment, you leave some of the best thoughts. And it inspires me to write more on the site. Next post probably coming up. It's going to be on Shoe Dog. If you guys haven't read Shoe Dog, you should read it. Getting ready to read the Converse book next. Got to do a video for giveaways and stuff like that. And I need to tighten that up and start shipping that stuff out. See you guys on the next one. Peace.